major development has emerged in the murder case of British businessman Campbell Scott. One of the prime suspects, Samuel Musembi, is dead. But the circumstances surrounding his death raise more questions than answers. Police confirmed on Friday that Musembi, who had been on the run, allegedly took his own life on Wednesday morning. He died while receiving treatment at Kenyatta National Hospital, KNH. According to investigators, Musembi initially attempted to poison himself, and when that failed, he reportedly stabbed himself multiple times. This explanation, however, does not sit well with those following the case closely. Musembi was accused of driving the vehicle used to transport the body of 58-year-old Scott from pipeline in Nairobi to Makongo Forest in Makueni County, where it was discovered on February 22nd. After being declared a wanted man, he went into hiding at a relative's house in Dandora before moving to a friend's home. His friend, who was unaware of his fugitive status, later turned him into the police. On Tuesday morning, the friend left for work, having already tipped off the authorities about Musembi's whereabouts. He expected the police to act swiftly. However, upon returning home that evening, he found the door locked from inside. Upon breaking in, he discovered Musembi unconscious on the bed. Foam covered his mouth, blood oozed from his neck, and he bore multiple stab wounds on his body. He was rushed to Mama Lucy Hospital, but was turned away due to the severity of his injuries before being transferred to KNH, where he later succumbed. Something does not add up. Let's break it down logically. Musembi was not suicidal. He had been actively moving from one hideout to another. A person intent on taking their own life does not go through such efforts to evade capture. The timing is suspicious. His friend, upon realizing Musembi was a wanted man, reported him to the police before heading to work in the morning. The police were now aware of his exact location. Given that Musembi was a fugitive in a high-profile murder case, the police should have arrived within 30 minutes at most. Yet, when his friend returned that evening, instead of finding Musembi in police custody, he found him gravely injured. The nature of the injuries also raises questions. Investigators claim that Musembi poisoned himself first, then stabbed himself multiple times. Let's think about this critically. If the poison had already weakened him, how did he muster the strength to stab himself repeatedly? And if he had decided to stab himself, why multiple times? Suicide by stabbing, especially multiple self-inflicted wounds, is extremely rare and highly suspicious. Where were the police? If Musembi was reported in the morning, why did it take until the evening for him to be found injured? What were the police doing during that time? The logical conclusion is that they arrived long before the friend returned. What happened between the time of their arrival and the discovery of Musembi in critical condition? The evidence points in a different direction. Musembi did not take his own life. He was silenced. The multiple stab wounds indicate a struggle, not a suicide. The delay in police action suggests something more sinister at play. Could it be that someone did not want Musembi alive to tell his side of the story? Was he eliminated to protect powerful interests? Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you are thinking right now is exactly what I am thinking. The signs are clear. Someone got to Samuel Mmbi before justice could. The question is who?
The pieces are falling into place, and the picture they paint is disturbing. This isn't the first time we've seen suspects in high-profile murder cases meet questionable deaths before they could talk. If you think back to the murder of Wells Fargo HR manager Willis Ayeko, the pattern is eerily similar. Remember Wakolo, the man police identified as the ringleader of the syndicate that killed Ayeko? This was not just any criminal. This was a man who single-handedly engaged the police in a fierce gunfight and managed to escape. In Alego Usonga, reports indicated he was almost overpowering the police during that shootout. This was a man who knew how to handle a gun. But what happened next? The police received intelligence that Wakolo was holed up in a hotel in Kisumu. They moved in, and according to Nyanza Regional Police Commander Patrick Tito, his death played out like this. The police arrived at the hotel, knocked on the door, and from the outside, they allegedly heard Wakolo cocking his gun inside the room. That, according to Tito, forced the police to act swiftly and shoot him before he could fire. Now, let's apply some logic. Wakolo was inside a locked room, armed. The police were outside, trying to force their way in. Even an amateur with a gun would know that when police are trying to break down the door, the only advantage they have is surprise, and the person inside has the upper hand. So are we really supposed to believe that this battle-hardened gang leader, who had already outgunned police once before, just stood there, waiting to be shot? Even assuming the police truly heard a gun being cocked, something only Wakolo knew about, why didn't he fire a single shot? What was he doing inside that room while the police were struggling to break in? Just standing there, unarmed, waiting for execution.
When his door was knocked, requesting him to open, the officers were able to hear him cock his firearm. And it's at that juncture that the officers stormed in, and as he was endeavoring to shoot at the officers were fast.
These stories don't add up. And now, here we are with another case, another suspect silenced before he could speak. Samuel Musembi, the man accused of driving the vehicle that transported Campbell Scott's body to Makongo Forest, is dead. A man who was on the run, moving from house to house, was finally located. And just like Wakolo, his death doesn't make sense. Musembi had multiple stab wounds, yet police expect us to believe he inflicted them on himself? That he first tried to poison himself, failed, and then proceeded to stab himself multiple times? And let's not forget the most important part. His friend reported his location to the police early in the morning before leaving for work. So my question is, what were the police doing between the time they were informed of his whereabouts and the time his friend returned home in the evening? Only to find him unconscious, bleeding. Are we to believe that the police, who had been hunting this suspect for weeks, just decided to take their sweet time getting to the location? Or did they arrive much earlier than we're being told? The truth is simple. Just like Wakolo, Musembi had critical information. Just like Wakolo, he did not live to share it. And just like Wakolo, the official story surrounding his death does not hold water. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Was this justice, or was this a cover-up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because trust me, this is just the beginning.